So what are crowds really like in Magic Kingdom, and what do you need to do to have the best day ever? I'm gonna find out. Okay everybody, your first stop on your way into Magic Kingdom, for most people, is going to be the Ticket and Transportation Center. Some people will also call it the TTC. So at the TTC, there are 3 ways to get to Magic Kingdom: monorails, of course, the ferry, and the buses. So the first thing that you can use while you're here at the TTC is the buses. Now the buses are gonna fluctuate a little bit with their schedule, so always make sure that you're checking that Disney bus schedule. They are not going to be the most magical mode of transportation, but they are going to be your more than likely quickest. Your next option is, of course, the iconic monorail. If you're rope dropping Magic or you're trying to get here early in the morning, as you can see, there are always going to be pretty big crowds. So it's definitely going to take you on the longer end as far as waiting in lines. Outside of the TTC is also a Joffrey's, which normally this is going to be the least busy Joffrey's. And our last option, of course, is the Magic Kingdom ferry boat. This is personally one of my favorite options. It's so magical. You get to pull up to the Magic Kingdom in your ferry boat. You get to pass the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian. This is definitely going to be my choice for the day. It's really just a beautiful ride, but it definitely takes longer, so keep that in mind. If you're really curious about each individual option here, we do have a video that's a transportation race from the TTC to Magic Kingdom, so go check that out if you want really specific wait times on each of the options here. Exactly 9 minutes from the time I stepped on the boat to the time I stepped off. I will say I walked up to the boat as they were loading, so I did not have to really wait for that loading time. So it might take you a little bit longer than that, but on a great day, you can get here in less than 10 minutes on the boat. It's magical. There's a lovely little breeze. And one thing I did forget to mention is at the TTC, that's where you're gonna go through security for Magic Kingdom. So now that we're here, we don't even have to worry about that. Thank you. Alrighty, so I have made it in and we are going to get our day started. I'm super excited. Even if it is a little bit crowded today, any day is a good day to be in Magic Kingdom. So let's see what happens. So far, it's not feeling too crowded. It's not too crazy. As you can see, there's kind of a pocket up here in the middle to take pictures with the photo pass on Main Street. And as you can see, it's all kind of starting to pinch up here in the middle as people see the castle for the first time and stop to take their pictures. I love being here early in the morning, even if you're already sweating a little bit. It is August, it's gonna be hot, but the earlier you get here, the less crazy the crowds can be if you find the right place. Of course, there's nothing where I'm at right now. I'm near the confectionery and the theater and Tony's. There's nothing. So if you want to get in, be in Magic Kingdom, kind of step to the side and then figure out your plan of attack. This is going to be a great place to do it, is kind of pull off to the sides where the crowds are not, because all of the crowds are going to be, of course, on Main Street taking pics of the castle. This is going to be your best indicator for what crowds are like. In Magic Kingdom, Main Street USA, it is almost always going to be busy. Of course, there are going to be pockets of empty, which are really nice, but as you can see, it's really crowded here, and it will stay crowded for the rest of the day. I want to see what wait times are looking like. It is 9:21, so the park has been open for about 20 minutes, so I'm not really rope dropping anymore at this point, but we're still here pretty early. So I'm going to find a lovely spot in the shade where I'm not in anyone's way because I hate getting in people's way. And we're gonna scroll through the My Disney Experience app and we're gonna see kind of what wait times are looking like, and then we're gonna decide where we're headed. Pirates, Splash, and Magic Kingdom magic carpets of Aladdin were all 3 down when it first opened this morning. Hopefully they will open back up, but that's a great example of don't bank on something. Try to be flexible with your plans. If something is closed and you wanted to rope drop it, maybe have a backup just in case it isn't open. I am personally going to go to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train because we're here for science. And what was the longest line? Seven Dwarfs. Of course, no surprise if you know anything about Magic Kingdom. And if you don't, I'm gonna go tell you all about it right now. Also, as we continue to head down Main Street so I can get into Fantasyland, I do think it's really important for you to know that right now, more than likely, Fantasyland and Tomorrowland are going to be your busiest parts early in the morning. I am going to take a little bit of a weird way as I head in, and also because I'm here, I just really want to do the new Magic Band Plus thingies. And mine, oh, there it goes. So cutie. I love him. Thanks, Dumbo. So I am actually going to take this lovely little bridge to the right of the castle, and there are no crowds here right now. That may be a good sign for us for the rest of the day. I have been here when this area gets extremely crowded. That mainly has been when I've rope dropped in the past to go to Seven Dwarfs. This gets really busy because Seven Dwarfs is probably the most popular ride in the park, but maybe it's a good sign that it's not too busy right now for us. So my first stop of the day is going to be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which right now, I can see my lovely friend over there, it's gonna be about 70 minutes. So of course, I am not doing a rope drop strategy. I am not trying to get in line and get through it as quickly as possible. I am really just trying to figure out, if you get here a little bit later and you want to hop in line, how long is it really going to take during some of the busiest times of the year. I personally love when Disney has fans in the queue. So one thing that's actually really important to know about this queue is that it is really covered in shade. So even though you are probably going to be standing in here for quite a long time, Disney's done a great job of making sure that it's really shaded, which I can really appreciate, because even if I am standing in the line for a long time, I'm not really getting hot. It's not too bad, especially since I am here earlier in the day. It took me 40 minutes to get inside. Supposedly I should only have 30 left. I feel like I've been in this line for my lifetime. One thing that I really love about this queue is that it is so cute and interactive. So here you can see all of the gems and all of the things from the mines. And I think it's just like a little nice touch, a little nice detail. Sometimes they'll light up. Just lots of fun things to help your wait, especially if you have kiddos. These are just great distractions to help you get through these longer lines. I have been in line now for 80 minutes, and I'm just now getting inside, so definitely going to be longer than we had hoped. How neat that is. While you spin them, they project things, but then if you stop, eventually the projections go away. I love that. Disney magic, baby. So I am finally to the point where I do see some ride loading instructions, which means we are finally getting a little bit closer to the actual ride. I can see the loading area now, which means we are almost there. There you go. Okay, so I finally hopped off Mine Train, and it did take me about an hour and 42 minutes from the beginning of the line until I was about to get in my little car section. That's just over 100 minutes. Controversial opinion, maybe, maybe not. I don't think so. I don't personally think that this is worth 100 minutes of my day when there are a lot of things that you could be doing with that 100 minutes. But I think this is a great ride for kids. It's super exciting. It's a smooth ride. The technology is amazing. My only true complaint, and the only reason I wouldn't wait 100 minutes, is because it's so short. So if it was a little bit longer, I would like it a little bit more. If it had lower wait times, I would ride it every time, because at the same time, it is still a good coaster. It's very smooth. It's just too short for my personal liking. I would probably recommend going during the fireworks or during the parade if those things aren't important to you, or trying to grab that Genie Plus Lightning Lane. One other tip that I think could be super beneficial if you're really wanting to get on this ride but you're not looking to pay for Disney Genie Plus, or you're not looking to wait for those long lines, is you can get on any Disney ride until the park closes. You can get in line, if the park closes at 9, you can get in line at 8:59 and they have to let you on the ride. So if that's something that you're interested in and you want to make sure you get on this but you don't want to spend a ton of time on it, that would be my recommendation, is coming at the very end of the night. The line still might be a little bit long, but they're definitely going to be able to get you through it more quickly because they also want to have the park close on time. It's been a long morning, I won't lie to you, waiting for Seven Dwarfs. Even though the AC was nice and it was a good cool wait, I need some coffee. It's just getting to be a long day. Coffee's about to be a necessity. So now, of course, we need to go do a little bit of coffee line science. Okay, so as I pass in front of the lovely castle, it's so stunning and beautiful. I am still thinking about Seven Dwarfs. I think it's really a great queue if you're willing to stand in line for that long and you get stuck somewhere. That is a good one to be in. Okay, I started looking at the castle, got really distracted, started walking the wrong way, and then a parade has started. So one thing about parades, you definitely can get stuck. I am currently next to Sleepy Hollow. I'm across the street, and they are closing the bridge for the parade. For now, I've pretty much staked out my spot, and I am only here 4 minutes before the parade is starting. And where I am currently at, there is no crowd. I think it's just because I happened to find a little bit of an empty spot. Normally, the crowds for parades can get a little bit out of hand. If you are a big parade watcher, or you know that your kids love parades, or it's the only place you might see some of your favorite characters, I would recommend kind of staking out a place not more than 20 minutes before. I think you are fine at 20 minutes to find a good spot that you can see and film everything. And you desperately need to know that if you sit, like if you find a little bit of a curb and you can sit, but it's not right up against that white rope, people are gonna stand in front of you. I know it's annoying, especially if you stake out your spot. So if you kind of see the crowd starting to get a little bit bigger and you are sitting on the curb, or you're kind of pulled back and you wanna be at the front, make sure that you get up and you get against that white rope, so that way you can get good videos, pictures of you, your kids, whomever you're with, and that way nobody can get in front of you. Okay, I'm gonna take a back road through here. You can see the rest of the parade, and I see some stepsisters hanging out. I won't bother them, they're obviously watching the parade. And I'm going to take this lovely back bridge. That is the key to getting around most of the parade routes, because there are going to be some issues when you're trying to walk around. If you're not stopping to watch the parade, you are gonna have to kind of find those back little paths as you get around the crowd. This honestly will be faster. The only thing I am worried about is getting across the street to Starbucks where I am headed. So you can see what the crowds are looking like off in the distance, and I'm going to take another bridge. So of course, because I'm making my way forward with the parade, I do get to see Beauty and the Beast again. And how do you not just have chills when you listen to the songs? I know it's hot, and I know sometimes in Magic it gets a little crowded and overwhelming, but then you see things like that and it just makes you feel so good. You're so happy to be here, and I know that I am. I'm trying to get over there. Let's see if we can find a pocket and kind of make our way across. Here we go, we're cutting across the street. Always make sure you're doing this pretty far away from the crowds and from the parade itself, so that way there's nothing dangerous and no, you're not in anyone's way. Or maybe this was the perfect time to do it. Okay, as much as I love a good parade, I don't want to stand in the heat and watch the whole thing when I could find a lovely covered seat here in front of the plaza in the shade. That's kind of hard to turn down. And I can watch the parade from here too. So for me, this is absolutely the perfect scenario, getting to sit in the shade in front of the castle to watch the festival and fantasy with a coffee. And I will say, it took me, this was maybe the best science I've ever gotten to do, because it took me 4 minutes from the time I got in line to when I got my drink. No one was there. They were all busy watching the festival fantasy parade, which I also got to watch part of, so I kind of got the best of both worlds. So coffee science is amazing. There are actually a few places to do coffee science in Magic Kingdom, and I'm going to take you into Tomorrowland so you can see the other place and one of my favorite places to get a little bit of coffee, whether you need it in the morning, the middle of the day, or the end of the night. Joffrey's is a really good option and something that I traditionally will pick because the lines tend to be a little bit shorter than Starbucks. Today, we just got really, really lucky. I will normally come to Joffrey's after a few rides when I'm in Tomorrowland. And again, I normally would come here because it tends to be shorter, but we really hit the jackpot today on coffee science. My favorite tip when it comes to coffee science is most definitely that if you are staying at a resort or you're driving in or wherever you're staying, it can be on or off property, have coffee there. If you're a Disney resort guest, you still get that Joffrey's coffee. There is a coffee maker in your room, and it's definitely going to save you time as far as waiting in lines, needing your coffee in the morning. If you don't mind a little bit of a wait for a coffee that was made for you, which is what I prefer, I do not make good coffee, definitely you can have these two options. But if you're looking to save time, coffee in the hotel is always going to be your best bet. And one other thing to know about Joffrey's coffee that I personally actually really like is if you're headed toward Frontierland or Fantasyland, you can actually mobile order it from a select amount of the quick service restaurants. Pinocchio's Village House is going to be a great option. They actually do have the cold brew as well as the hot coffees. Most of the quick service locations will just have the hot Joffrey's coffee, but you can mobile order it. One thing that you need to be prepared for on a really crowded day in Magic Kingdom is going to be pinch points. So what are pinch points? Pinch points basically are just where a lot of crowds always are. It's where they all kind of gather up and there's always going to be a crowd there, even if it's not a super crowded day. One thing that I really like is that My Disney Experience app actually has a section that will tell you where to go, and it's kind of like a GPS and walking map, and it'll help you find the best way to get around Magic Kingdom, which I often need. Okay, while I am here for science, of course, I've just checked the wait times, and although it's not the longest wait here, I'm here and it's a pretty long wait, so of course we're gonna hop in the Splash Mountain line. And one thing I am super excited to see is that Splash Mountain is actually about to go under a really big refurbishment, and they're going to make it Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I love Princess Tiana. I'm super excited to see what they come up with for this one. But because of that, people have been rushing to Splash Mountain to make sure they get to ride it before it closes. So of course, I'm going to hop in this lovely 70-minute line to hop in for Splash Mountain, and we're gonna see how it goes. So as you can see, I am technically in line right now, but this is just the Lightning Lane line.
Because it's on its back.
One thing to really know about the Splash Mountain line is even though a good portion of it, as you can kind of see back here, is covered by trees, there are also several sections that you are just in the direct sunlight. So make sure you have lots of water, you're always hydrating, and you have all of the lovely sunscreen on. I basically take a shower in my sunscreen before I come, especially during the summer months, but really any time in Florida. Waiting in these lines can get pretty brutal, not just because of the heat, but sometimes just standing for an hour plus can be really hard. So I always like to have a game. If I'm by myself, I have a book on my phone. I know when I've come like with my cousins who are younger, we have iPads, games. When I was younger, my family used to bring Uno cards, anything to kind of help us stay distracted in line. And now as an adult, when I come with my friends, we have games like Heads Up on our phone, just things to help kind of pass the time a little bit more quickly than just standing and people watching, which I love to people watch, but it can get a little bit boring after a while. So I've been in line only for about 30 minutes and it's a little bit brutal. I'm definitely getting hungry. I need some water. I need a trash can, but we're making it. I've been in line for an hour now, and we definitely still have a little bit of a ways to go. I am not even inside yet, so I think it'll definitely be longer than 70 minutes, but this is for science, so we stick it out. Okay, I have finally made it up the stairs. I'm at least inside, even though it's open. It is now 80 minutes. I am at an 80-minute wait so far, so obviously it's going to be longer than the 70 that we had hoped for. I'm eager to see how long it actually is. And fun fact about me, I don't like water rides that much, so this is going to be great. Here we go.
Folks here about said you're ready to leave it home. I said, leave it home. I'll go to the right.
I'm doing this once, I'm just letting you know that.
Once a day.
So Brad Rabbit's looking for a little adventure, ain't he?
Now, what do? Oh, your turn.
Look here, brother, man, this is going fun now. Now get down from that tree. We gotta cut this back rabbit with it.
One more drop.
No, all right.
Right up here. So, you're looking for a laughing place.
Here we go! My goodness. You gotta love Splash Mountain. But when it's 95 degrees outside, I guess you'll take it. The Splash Mountain water actually does wonders for your hair routine. And then of course we're gonna go by the waterfall, so that way I can get my hair done a little bit more. And we're gonna stop next to it too. I just got off of Splash Mountain. It said a 70-minute wait. It still says a 70-minute wait as I was walking out. It most definitely took me an hour and a half, so about 90 minutes. It's not horrible. I would have expected it to be that, to be honest. Do I think it's worth that? Honestly, yes. Sometimes I can catch myself being a Splash Mountain hater because I don't like to get my hair wet, and I know that's a little girly, but I'm okay with that. But then, I don't know, after the ride, you just remember how much fun it is. I will be very honest and say, at one point in the queue, I was struggling. It was hot. I needed water, which I always have my water, but I didn't have enough. We were right in the sun. I definitely struggled more in this line than I did in Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. That one was not as bad, especially because there were more fans, and even though Splash Mountain had fans, they just weren't as great. Of course, I was here at a later part in the day, so it was significantly hotter, so I may change my mind about which queue I prefer, but hands down, easier. It was easier for me to wait in line in Seven Dwarfs than it was for Splash. I know it's not always fun to wait until the end of the day, especially for rides like this one, but sometimes it's just gonna get you through the line quicker, and you can do a lot more during the day while you're saving time waiting on this one. I'm going to look and see what's on the mobile order. It is 3 o'clock-ish now, so I'm not really sure if people are doing late lunches today. We're gonna see roughly how long this is gonna take me. Pecos Bills and Casey's Corner are definitely gonna be two of the busiest spots in Magic Kingdom, but I'm gonna check out the mobile order and see what options we have. It is about 3 o'clock, and as soon as that came out of my mouth, I realized it is almost parade time. There's so many people here. This is probably one of the most congested areas for the parade that isn't Main Street. And I'm gonna go along this boardwalk where I'm gonna find an empty spot to make my mobile order. I was able to get past that lovely long crowd and then cut across the street just before the parade starts. And Pecos Bills actually had a pickup time for right now, so that's what I will be doing. One thing about Pecos is they have a huge dining area. It is always packed. Even now, it's 3 o'clock. Most people have probably already had lunch. This is a later lunch and you can still see lots of people, but because it is such a big dining area, there are lots of seats. So I will not have a problem trying to find a seat right now, which is super nice. This is actually the line to order food if you don't use mobile order. It's not that bad right now, but it definitely can get pretty crazy. So I always choose mobile order. It's a super good time saver, and I just love not having to fool with the crowds. And I actually did choose to sit outside with all of the lovely shade. Even though there was a lot of seating inside, I like it out here. Especially when you're in the shade, it's not bad at all. And you can get free waters at all of the quick service. So of course I did that. So what did I get for lunch? Some delicious beef nachos. If you don't like all of this zhuzhed up on it, all of the lovely tomatoes, lettuce, queso, all of that good stuff, they do give it to you just with the chips and the beef, and then you can add everything as much as you like or as little as you like. And then I also got a side of guacamole. Magic Kingdom doesn't have all of the adventurous options. It's all pretty simple, all pretty plain. I like that. I like both adventurous and plain things. I'm not hard to please when it comes to food. So what more can you ask for? It's really good flavored and seasoned ground beef. Again, they're not really breaking the mold here. They're not reinventing the wheel. It is just beef nachos with some really good white queso. And then I, of course, like to zhuzh it up. And honestly, for picky eaters, this is a great option. Starting around noon, anywhere down to around like 3, when things do start getting busier, this is actually a great time to grab maybe like a table service or something to kind of help you get out of the sun and get out of the crowds, if that's something you're interested in doing. I thought I would just walk back through the AC one more time to help me cool down. So it's always important to know that when it rains, it gets crazy in here. It is super packed, super busy. So always keep that in mind. So if you're looking for something that might be a little bit quicker, your better options are gonna be things like the lunching pad, Sleepy Hollow, the snack carts, and things like Friar's Nook. So you just have to decide if you value quickness or indoor seating, both, which I think are very important in Disney World. Okay, everybody, so it is becoming a little bit later in the afternoon at this point, and this is when ride times are really going to start to kind of decrease a little bit as people park hop. Sometimes when people do park hop, they will park hop here, so you never really know where the lines are going to go, but traditionally they're going to drop. I have not experienced them getting higher at any point, so this is going to be the time to really start watching those wait times and make sure what you want to get on. So as I'm headed back into Fantasyland, this is a great example of what that pinch point is going to look like. Definitely more crowded here, even though the park is not as crowded as I would have anticipated today. You can see where they're starting to build right in front of Haunted Mansion. Okay, so to wrap up our long lines ride discussion, of course we had to come to Peter Pan's flight. So Peter Pan's Flight is one of the older rides in Magic Kingdom. It is a lovely little short, emphasis on short ride that takes you through Neverland and all of Peter Pan and his friends' adventures. This one is a bit of a controversial one because, again, emphasis on short. Right now, lines are saying 75 minutes. Is it worth 75 minutes? I'm gonna sound a little bit hypocritical as I talk about this, and I know that because I love Peter Pan's Flight. It is truly a Disney classic. It is one that I think is so beautiful and fun, even though there are some things that maybe people think that you should fix about it, and I get that. Is it worth 75 minutes? In my opinion, no. I will not wait normally over 45 minutes for this. Previously, when Fast Pass was still a thing, I would only ride it if I got a Fast Pass. And now with the addition of Genie Plus, the lines do tend to be a little bit longer because people are grabbing Genie Plus for this, so that way they don't have to wait in line. That means though, if you did not get a Genie Plus Lightning Lane for this, unfortunately, the line is gonna be a little bit longer for you. It is a really neat queue. I think it is one of the best recent queues that Imagineering has done in a long time. It's super interactive, which I do like. And I do like that it's inside, so you have that air conditioning, which is desperately needed. But again, for me, it is just not long enough to justify that wait. And normally, unless it was for science, I would not wait in a line like this. So you cannot talk about Walt Disney World, crowds, wait times, anything like that without at least mentioning the fireworks. The fireworks easily are going to be the biggest crowds that you encounter in Disney World, and I am not exaggerating. Main Street fills with thousands and thousands of people every single night, and it can be really overwhelming if you're not prepared for that. So as far as crowds go, that is most definitely going to be your biggest crowd yet, is fireworks. For me, I'm a huge fireworks fan, especially when it was Happily Ever After. And when it was Happily Ever After, I literally would stake out my spot an hour before showtime. I think that now you could probably come at least 30 minutes before, but if you are a huge fireworks fan, a little bit earlier to get that perfect spot. I definitely have a favorite spot for fireworks, and I will go show it to you because I want to help, of course. And this is my favorite advice to give to people. I personally love the projections on the castle just as much as I love the fireworks. So I always aim to try to find a spot right dead center. And normally I'll go for around the partner's statue kind of area. Probably to the left or right of it, if not in front of it. That is getting a little bit closer. I don't like to break my neck as I'm looking up for fireworks. But to me, this area right here, I'm standing directly behind the partner's statue. It's a great area to watch any fireworks at night. I say any. Enchantment. To watch Enchantment at night. Honestly, you're dead center. You can see all of the projections and nothing gets really wonky. You can see the fireworks, the music sounds great. The only thing about this is when the show ends, the crowds getting out are wild and it can be incredibly overwhelming. And I cannot state that enough. It is some of the most overwhelming times I have ever experienced in Magic Kingdom, is just trying to get out of Magic Kingdom. Normally, now I have taken to leaving maybe as the show is ending, and I'll go towards a ride. I'll try to get on one last thing before the park closes, just so that way I can get a little bit more out of my day and not have to experience the influx of guests, all leaving, thousands of them at the exact same time. All right, everybody, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me in the crowds today in Magic Kingdom. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and now go check out our Escaping Magic Kingdom video.